Welcome to my home in Canada. I'm Joanna. I'll be guiding you for the next 75 minutes. And today we are blessed with an extended practice, um, just wrapping up the end of the year. So today's practice will be a Vinyasa class based on reflection and recalibration. So what that means is we're going to start with a little bit of processing, looking back over this year, what we have learned, what we've experienced, what we're grateful for. And then we will also start to project forwards, looking at what we need, what we wish for, what are our desires that we would like to manifest for this coming year. So all that might sound a bit much. You might not be ready to get into those places and spaces, and that's fine. Just enjoy the practice for what it is for you. You might also find that you actually want to do that work of analysis and projection maybe in the coming days. So it might not happen for you today. Maybe you'll need to look at that as the days unfold. Don't put any pressure on yourself. For today's practice, you'll see I have a blanket, so you can have a blanket under your crossed legs in Sukhasana to begin, but it's also a great prop to use throughout the class. So I encourage you to have one of those. I'm also sitting on one block and I have another block just off to the side, so I would encourage you to grab those if you have them, or some thick books are also useful as an alternative. And then I have a long bolster and an eye pillow and a strap. So if you have access to those items, bring them to your mat as well, or you could grab a thick cushion off the couch, or a bathrobe belt, or some other kind of TheraBand perhaps you could use as a strap alternative. And then we'll meet in a seated position of Sukhasana in the middle of our mats, getting yourself nice and comfortable, whether that means your legs are crossed or legs are extended, whether that means you choose to lean against a wall or even sit in a chair to open class, no problem. I'll just give you a moment or two to find that position and start to rest your hands either onto your thighs with the palms face down for some grounding, palms face up for a little. If you're comfortable with your eyes closed, close your eyes. Otherwise, just bring your gaze down towards the floor, softening the gaze and dissolving any external distraction, bringing yourself into your body, into this quiet, still space. Begin to receive your breath. Thinking about the root of the pelvis anchoring you down, grounding you in this very moment. And think about the length of your spine lifting up towards the crown of your head, sending out light, sending out your energy, perhaps even visualizing a portal of light shining from the top of your head, radiating what you are, what you're thinking about, what you stand up for. That is the energy that you are giving out. And what you are receiving back is anything that you need, anything that you're wishing for, And that too is coming back to you from that portal of light at the crown of your head, back down into your body, down into every cell of your being. So as we become more and more aware of this, we can start to actually manifest what we need, recognize when thoughts are not helpful to us, are not serving us, and choose something different. See if you can breathe a little softer into your lower belly to help with this grounding process. Soft belly breathing is wonderful for your nervous system. Maybe you continue where you are, or perhaps bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, so the heels of your hands connected and all of your finger pads. Imagining there's a little nesting bird between the hands, and then bringing those thumbs closer towards your sternum, a symbol of offering and devotion to your body, to your practice, to your space. And I'd love for us to open with 3 sounds of Om, the vibrational sound of the universe, welcoming in this practice, welcoming our bodies onto our mats. If you're comfortable to join in, feel free. Otherwise, simply receive the sound into your body. Take a nice big inhale and exhale. And inhale to Om. Lower your hands back onto your thighs. Take a smooth breath in and a soft breath out. Bow your chin towards your chest and breathe into the back of your neck, releasing any tension, any tightness you've been holding, you've been carrying with you. Letting it melt away. On your next inhale, roll your right ear towards your right shoulder and let your left fingertips rest towards your mat. And take a couple of long breaths into the side of your neck and down your arm. Again, letting that tension, tightness melt away. Anything you've been carrying with you this year, anything you've been holding on to consciously or unconsciously, this is your time to dissolve, to evaporate that, to make space, to peel away some of those old layers of ourselves, making room for the new. Bring your hand back to your thigh, your chin back to your chest. And inhale, roll your left ear to your left shoulder. Relax your right fingertips onto the floor. A couple of sweet breaths. And then bring your hand back to your thigh, your chin back to your chest, and slowly lift your head back to neutral. Inhale, sweep both of your arms up to the sky and interlace your fingers. Turn your palms up and keep breathing into the top of your lungs. When you can't breathe in anymore, exhale and release those arms wide and down. And again, like that, inhale, lift the arms wide and up, interlace the fingers, turn the palms up, keep breathing in. And exhale to release, arms float wide and down. One more of those. Inhale, arms sweep wide and up, interlace the fingers, turn the palms up. And exhale, wide and down. Place your hands on your thighs, lift your shoulders up as you inhale, and exhale, roll your shoulders back and down. And again, inhale, roll the shoulders up, and exhale, shoulders back and down. And just one more cycle, lift the shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders back and down. Inhale, both arms up. Interlace the fingers this time, hands behind your head, and lean your head back into your hands, letting your shoulder blades move down the back of your rib cage, chest wide, elbows wide, breathing into your heart space, breathing into that expansion, that light, that place of love, right at the heart chakra, anahata. Use your inhale to bring your spine back to center. Float those arms back overhead. Wrap your right hand around your left wrist and take your upper body and your arms to the right, hugging your lower ribs in, keeping your chest facing forwards, the crown of the head lifting long. Your pelvis is anchored down. You're breathing into your side body. And inhale back to center, swap the hands over, and exhale to the left. Inhale to center, and exhale, lower the arms. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. So nice. Fluttering the eyes open if they're closed. Let's meet in Malasana, child's pose. So perhaps removing any block you might be sitting on and moving your blanket so that it is padding your knees, perhaps. You might also like your bolster as a gap filler between your pelvis and your heels for this. And you might like your block as a support for your forehead when you start to lower the head closer to your mat. So take your knees wide, connect your big toes together, start to melt your chest and forehead towards your mat or towards that block for support. Your forearms can be bent. You can have your arms straight. I'll leave it to you. Your belly is completely relaxed between your thighs. And you're sending sweet releasing breaths into your lower back. Again, this is an area of the body that we hold a lot of our tightness and tension through the year. So let us now spend a bit of time in a place of release, in a place of nurturing, caring for this body, this vessel that has carried us through the last 12 months. Giving thanks to this body. You'll notice in the first portion of the practice, we're going to come into a lot of forward folds. And this is because folding forwards is a very inward experience. You're folding the body literally into itself. And this symbolizes this portion of the practice that is inward and reflective. A time for you to be in a place of process, perhaps. A place of understanding and acknowledgement. As you look back over this year, perhaps right now in this child's pose, reflect on the things you've been grateful for this year. Let your lower belly hang and relax between your legs. No holding, but instead you're in a place here of surrender. Take 3 more breaths here. And then start to make your way onto your hands and knees, removing any props that are underneath your body. Stack your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. And on your next inhale breath, tilt your tailbone towards the sky, sink your belly towards the earth, and lift your chin and your chest in cow pose. As you exhale, start to draw your tailbone underneath your body, round your middle back towards the sky, and look towards your belly button, cat pose. Move with the fullness of your breath. So as you inhale, take your time to complete the movement all the way up to the end of that breath. And the same as you exhale, take your time starting at the pelvis and finishing at the crown of your head. One more cycle of this. Inhale, forwards and up. And exhale, rounding the spine. And come back to a neutral tabletop position, and maybe just add a little bit of movement to the pelvis, just a little rocking side to side. Lovely. From here, we'll move into downward facing dog. So rooting down through those hands, pressing into your finger pads so that you're not dropping all the weight into your wrists. Give the fingers more responsibility, and that will create strength in the tops of your hands. Tuck your toes and start to lift the pelvis towards the sky, lengthening your legs and drawing your chest back towards your thighs. Looking towards the space between your legs as you press your heels back and down. You can keep your knees as soft as you like here. Also try not to lock out the arms or legs. Try and keep a softness through your elbows, a softness through your knees at all times, so that you are strengthening around the joints. Relax the head, maybe shake the head a little bit, maybe rock your hips a little bit and paddle your heels, molding your body into this shape of downward facing dog. And if this shape at any time does not work for your body today, then maybe stay in tabletop or take yourself back into child's pose, Malasana. Here we find ourselves again in a forward fold and an inversion, moving inward, connecting with self, noticing how we are. This shape is a great place to recognize your body. How's your body feeling? How has your body carried you through this year? In what ways did it show up for you? On your next inhale breath, float your right leg towards the sky. And exhale, hug your right knee to your chest, stepping your right foot forwards between your two hands and lowering your left knee to the mat or onto the comfort of your blanket. You can keep your hands on the floor, or you could put your hands on your blocks here, or option to float your hands all the way up and overhead. Low crescent lunge. Here we are, hugging the right hip back slightly, hugging the left hip forward slightly, spreading those right toes into the floor, hugging the lower ribs down. You feel your core gently engage. You feel a space around your lower back region. If your arms are overhead, again, the elbows are soft, the fingers are light, and there's a lot of breath through your chest. Stay here or start to spiral your chest to the right and open your arms into a wide T shape, reaching away with your fingertips. Use your inhale to come back to center. Use your exhale to twist to the right, arms in that T. Inhale back to center. And exhale, spiral to the right, arms in a T. Inhale back to center. Exhale, lower your hands back to the earth or your blocks. Lift your left knee off the mat and step forwards. Uttanasana. Take a halfway lift, hands to shins, long spine. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Again, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, long spine. Exhale, fold, looking towards your legs perhaps. One more cycle of that. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. So here in the fold, you might choose to rest your fingertips on the earth, have your hands on your blocks, or maybe wrap your hands around opposite elbows and allow your head to hang heavy between the arms. If this creates any dizziness or nausea, then keep looking at the floor in front of your feet so that your head is still in line with your heart. As soon as we start to drop the head a little lower than the heart, that is when we can experience that dizziness or nausea. So just be mindful of that. You could always keep your forearms on your thighs with your knees a little more bent. You're still getting that lovely stretch into the backs of your legs. Take a couple more breaths here in this fold. Perhaps reflecting on your growth this year. How have you expanded? Where did you challenge yourself? Have your experiences helped you to become wiser? 3 more breaths. And then rest your fingertips back towards the earth or your blocks. Take another halfway lift. Exhale, fold and step back with your right foot, lowering your right knee and coming into your low crescent lunge, hands to earth, the blocks, or hands overhead. Make any little adjustments to your alignment. Check in that that front knee is over the top of your front ankle and that the front knee is not going too wide or too far in. The knee is tracking your second and third toes. Stay here, or as you next inhale, reach a little taller if your arms are overhead. And then exhale, spiral your body to the left and open your arms into that big wide T shape. Lovely. Inhale back to center, challenging your balance, your coordination, and your ability to move with your breath. Exhale, twist to the left, opening up those arms. Inhale all the way back to center. And last time, exhale, twist to the left. And inhale back to center. As you exhale, lower your hands back to the earth, and this time stepping back to downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here, rocking the hips, paddling the heels. Remember, you can always be in tabletop or child's pose instead. From here, we'll play with our first flow, our first vinyasa, first active fluid movement. See if this feels good in your body today. If not, continue in your resting shapes. From down dog or tabletop, inhale and ripple your body forwards into a plank position, lowering the pelvis, lowering the belly, extending the spine, extending the crown of your head. You're creating one long line here from the crown of your head to your heels. Maybe your knees are up, maybe your knees are down. Shoulders over wrists. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, bend your elbows and lower all the way down to your front body in one piece. On your next inhale, root the tops of your feet down, lift your chin and your chest up, hug your shoulders and elbows back, expanding across your collarbones, baby cobra. And then exhale, lower your chest plate back to the mat, root down through your hands, tuck your toes, and press back to tabletop or downward facing dog or back and into your child's pose. Take 3 breaths and see how you are. If that felt good and you'd like to do that again, here we go. Inhale, come forwards into a plank position, knees up or down. Exhale, bend your elbows and lower your whole body to the floor in one piece. Untuck your toes, roll the shoulders back. Inhale, lift your chin and your chest, baby cobra. Exhale, lower your chest, tuck your toes, press back to down dog, tabletop, or child's pose. 3 breaths. Maybe you're feeling that warmth starting to surge through your body now. Let's continue on. One more cycle of that. Inhale, come forwards into your plank pose. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana all the way to the mat. Inhale, baby cobra. And exhale, down dog, tabletop, or child's pose. 3 breaths. Now look at your hands, bend your knees, walk your feet to your hands at the top edge of your mat. Take a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Bend the knees, press into the feet, float the arms all the way up to the sky. Look up at your fingertips. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart and down by your sides. Standing in Tadasana, top of the mat. Take a big breath in and a smooth breath out. Look down at your big toes and start to glue them together with a little gap between your heels. Hands can be by your sides or hands to hips. Bend your knees and sit back in your chair. So you're hugging your knees together. Your pelvis is rooting back. The weight is in your heels. Your toes are very light and your chest is lifted. Your hands can come to your heart space. Utkatasana. Root down through the heels. Keep the chest lifted. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. You can stay here or next big breath in, lift your chest a little more. Exhale, spiral your chest to the right and hook your left elbow as high up your outer right thigh as you can go. Keep bringing your sternum and your thumbs towards one another, lifting the chest. Now you can stay like this or really root down through that right foot. Look down at your right foot and lightly step your left foot to the back of your mat, coming into a lunge. You're on the ball of your left foot, or you can lower your left knee to the floor. You can either stay looking at your mat or turn your chest and gaze back to the right. Hug through your inner legs, feeling your power. Maybe extend your right arm up to the sky and your left fingertips down towards the floor. On your next inhale, come all the way back up into your lunge, arms overhead. And exhale, hands to the mat. Stepping back to down dog, tabletop, or child's pose. Exhale your breath. Stay here or inhale to plank position. Exhale, chaturanga. You can lower or hover from the mat now and either come into upward facing dog or baby cobra. So upward facing dog is hands and tops of the feet to the floor. And then exhale back to down dog, tabletop, or child's pose. 3 breaths. So we're starting to burn away what is stagnant, what is no longer needed or necessary. What do you want to leave behind as you approach this new year? Use this fire to burn away stagnation or anything that is unserving. Bend your knees, look to your hands, walk, step, or jump to the top edge of your mat. Take a halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Bend the knees, press into the feet. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. And down by your sides. Take a big breath in. And a big breath out. Hands by your sides or hands on your hips. Wiggle those big toes together. Bend your knees, hugging the knees together, lifting the chest, sitting in your chair pose, Utkatasana. Hands can come to Anjali Mudra at the center of your chest here, or remain hands to hips. Continue to find your breath, putting the weight back into the heels and into the hips. Feel free to stay like this and be in this place of power and strength. Take another inhale and lift your chest. And exhale, spiral your chest to the left, hooking your right elbow as high up your outer left thigh as you can. Keep spiraling the heart and chest to the left. Maybe you stay here, wringing out the digestive system, wringing out the spine. Or start to look down at your mat, root down through your left foot, and lightly step your right foot to the back of your mat, coming into a low or high lunge with that right leg. Stay here or turn your chest back to the left, squeezing through those inner legs. Whew. Option to stay like this or extend the left arm up and the right fingers down, opening up your wings, increasing the twist if that feels okay today. Yeah. Bring your hands back to your heart and come all the way up and into a lunge with your arms overhead, finding your balance. And exhale, hands to the mat, stepping back, down dog, tabletop, or child's pose, anchoring down for 3 breaths. Take some cleansing exhale breaths, maybe a big lion's breath, widening your eyes and sticking out your tongue on the exhale. So fun. Stay like you are or come through your flow. Inhale to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. And exhale back to down dog, tabletop, or child's pose. Find 3 breaths. Maybe another big lion's breath. This amazing body that carries you. Here it is, warm and energized, serving you in this moment, ready for what is next. Start to look at your hands, bend your knees, walk, step, or jump, top of the mat. Take a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Bend the knees, root down through the feet. Inhale, both arms wide and up to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart and down by your sides. Take a breath in and a breath out. Either stay with your hands down by your sides here in Tadasana, or bring your hands now into Anjali Mudra at the center of your chest once again. Testing our balance even more. So rooting down through your right foot and then lightly stepping back on the ball of your left foot. Squeeze through your inner legs. Start to tilt your chest forwards, hinging at your hips. And maybe float that left foot away from the floor a little bit or a lot, coming into Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. So the more you lift that left heel, the more your chest leans forwards, perhaps creating a long line from crown of head to heel. See how it goes. If you want to use the wall with your hands to support you, or hands to the floor, or hands on your blocks in front of you, feel free. They're there for support. They're there to help you. And then lift your chest and see if you can bring that left knee into your chest without lowering the left foot to the floor. See how that goes. Your core is engaged. Your chest is open. Your left foot is flexed. And from here, you can widen your left knee and connect the sole of your left foot to your inner right thigh, calf, or rest left heel to right ankle. And squeeze foot and leg together. Lift up through the crown of your head. This is an expression of tree pose, Rakshasana, a place of rooting down and a place of rising up. This symbolizes your moment in time where you are growing, you are expanding, you are exploring. So maybe you leave your hands at your heart, or maybe your arms start to lift up towards the sky and maybe widen. You might even look up. Slowly bring your hands back towards your heart space. Hug that left knee back into your chest, and then lightly lower that left foot back to the floor. Find Tadasana. Recalibrate, reset, Exhale your breath, roll your shoulders, shake out the hips if you need to. Nice. Second side, now you know where we're going. Hands in Anjali Mudra, root down through that left foot. Step back lightly on the ball of your right foot, hips square, chest forwards. Maybe this is where you stay today. This is a wonderful way to explore distributing the weight between your 2 feet. Or lean forwards with your chest and start to lift up from the back of that right leg, extending the crown of your head forwards, your chest leaning forwards. Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Push away with the sole of that right foot if it's lifting away from the floor. Crown of the head lengthening forwards. Maybe arms wide in a T. Maybe using the wall for support or hands to blocks for support. From here, start to lift your chest and gather your right knee into your chest. Take your time with this. If you need to lower the right foot, please do so. Option to open the right knee wide now. Connect the sole of your right foot to your inner left thigh, inner left calf, or inner left ankle. And you're squeezing foot to leg, leg to foot. You're lifting up tall through the crown of your head in a moment of expansion, a moment of hope, a moment of inspiration. Thanking your lower body for being your anchor. And now maybe arms extending up and wide, lifting you to new heights, moving into new places. Bringing your hands back to Anjali Mudra, bring your right knee back into your chest, and then lower the right foot to the floor. Tadasana, mountain pose, big breath in, big breath out. Inhale both arms up to the sky, and exhale forward fold over your legs. Inhale halfway lift, and exhale fold. Shuffle your feet as wide as your mat till your toes come onto the floor, your heels remain on the mat, and bend the knees a lot, coming into Malasana, Yogi squat. Feel free to keep your forearms on your thighs, your pelvis a little higher. Feel free to sit on a block, use it as a little stool so that you can come into your version of squat, or just hover your pelvis away from the floor. Some of you might find that if your heels pop off the mat, you might want to put blocks underneath those heels as another option. Hands are in heart space, arms pressing into inner legs, length through the crown of your head, spine long, breathing into the pelvis. Here we are now, making space for the new. Releasing any tightness, any tension we've been carrying in those hips. Bring your hands back onto the earth. Extend the backs of your legs long, lifting the pelvis. Come into a forward fold, shuffling those feet back into parallel, hip distance apart. Take a halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step back to plank pose. Stay in your plank or return to down dog, tabletop, or child's pose. If you're remaining in your plank, take another big inhale breath. And then exhale, chaturanga, lowering or hovering from the earth. Inhale to baby cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale back to down dog, tabletop, or child's pose. Take 3 breaths. If you're not in child's pose, start to make your way there now. Breathing into your lower back. Starting to think about this coming year. What is to unfold? What is in front of us? A lot we don't know. It seems right now that we can only plan for the moment that we are in. And can we allow that to be enough? Walk your hands towards your legs and roll up through your spine. And take a hold of one of your blocks. We're going to put it in between our inner thighs. Feel free to keep that nice pad on your mat for your knees. This is called Ustrasana or camel pose. So the block is to go in between your inner thighs. I'll just turn this way so you can see. So it's in between the inner thighs at its skinniest width. And I'm squeezing that block nice and tight with my inner thighs. You're up on your knees. You can have the tops of your feet rooting down into the floor. However, I would encourage you to have your toes tucked. It gives a little more stability. And if you are in this shape going to work your hands towards your heels, it keeps the heels a little closer to your hands. Your chest and hips are facing forwards. Your hands are in Anjali Mudra. And we begin here just focusing on squeezing into that block with our inner legs and thinking about creating lots of space for our lower back. Maybe you stay like this. Option to put your two hands on your lower back. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Take an inhale breath and lift your chest, lift your chin, looking a little higher towards the sky. And maybe this is where you stay. Exploring, opening across your front body, expanding, receiving. Option to take this a little further. Maybe hands come towards your heels and press the chest and pelvis more forwards and up. When you're ready, return your hands to your lower back. Lift the spine tall, remove your block and sit back on your heels with your palms facing up on your legs. And quite simply receive. Receive your breath. Receive that release, that recalibration, that opportunity for newness to enter your body, to enter your life. If that was enough for you, please stay as you are, or you can sit in Sukhasana and just be in a place of quiet meditation. If you'd like to come for another cycle of camel pose, Ustrasana, come back up onto your knees and place that block in between your inner thighs. Tucking your toes is an option. Hands in Anjali Mudra or hands on your lower back, depending on where you're going with this one. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Hug the elbows towards one another. Inhale your breath and start to look towards the sky, lifting the chin slightly. Stay like this or taking it a little further back. Maybe hands towards heels, pressing the chest and pelvis forwards. When you're ready, bring your hands back to your lower back. Remove your block as you come upright and sit back onto your heels. Palms face up on your thighs, eyes closed. Receive. perhaps considering in this moment what it is you need. If you have a pad under your knees, you can remove it now, and we'll come around to a seat. From that seat, we will take our way back to the floor. So I'd love for you to extend your legs long and extend your arms long and parallel. Flex your feet, lengthen the legs, take a breath in, and as you exhale, roll all the way down onto your back body, using the core strength to get you there. At the bottom, you can completely relax your arms and legs. And take a nice big breath out. Continuing with this theme of now opening up the front body. This is the place where we want to receive and expand, invite in the new. So we'll place our feet onto the mat and we'll have our heels quite close to our glutes. The feet are in parallel and hip distance apart. Now you can choose whether you want to put a prop under your pelvis. It could be something low like a folded blanket, or a little higher like a bolster or a block. I'll leave it up to you. I'm going to choose a block. So pressing down into the feet, lifting the pelvis, and then sliding your chosen prop underneath your body. Placing your sacrum, which is a triangular bone, at the base of your spine. Placing that to your prop and just see how that feels. If that feels okay for you today, great. If that feels too much, then you can always remove the prop, no problem. Now for some, we'll stay like this. To create a nice release in the lower back, you could shuffle your feet wide and maybe rest your knees into one another. This helps the hips to relax and creates that nice space in the lower back region. If you want to challenge yourself a little more here with this bridge pose, you can keep your feet in parallel, hip distance apart, hands to the earth, root down through your feet and start to peel your pelvis off your prop and up towards the sky. Lifting up into the fullness of your bridge pose, keeping your thighs parallel as if you're hugging an imaginary beach ball there, and feeling that lovely spaciousness across the front lines of your body. Rolling all the way back down as you're ready, lowering back onto your prop. We'll do that a few more times, and if you wish, you can add in the arms. So as you inhale, you're floating your arms up to the sky in parallel, and you're taking those arms all the way back behind you until the backs of your hands rest on the floor. And as you exhale and roll down onto the floor, your arms also float forwards and down onto the floor. So you can do this a few more times. This is a moving meditation. Your inhale floats your arms and legs up, and your exhale rolls you back towards the earth. Do this a few more times. This is a great massage and release for your back. It's a great way to create more expansion and openness in the front of your body. Moving mindfully with breath helps us to stay present, helps us to focus on that connection between body and breath. Breath being the bridge between the body and the mind. Maybe just one more cycle of this. And then once your pelvis is rooted back to your prop, We'll remove that prop by reaching down into the feet, lifting the pelvis, and removing the prop from behind you. Once your pelvis is back on the earth, you have a choice to just keep your back on the floor now and come into Subtabation, recline butterfly from here, maybe using blocks to support under your hips or knees if needed. Or the other option is to lift yourself up for a moment, find your bolster, put it behind you, and then a block behind the bolster at the far end where your head is going to be. You're going to make a little incline, and this way we can come into a supported back bend. So if that works for you and that would feel okay across your chest and into your back, then you can choose this option. Keeping your pelvis on the floor, lowering your spine onto your bolster, resting the back of your head to the bolster, and then soles of the feet together, knees wide in butterfly. You can have your hands on your lower belly or inner thighs as long as your elbows are relaxed. Or you could expand your arms wide across the floor with the palms facing up. If this shape does not feel great for your hips or legs, you can always have your legs long and wide in more of a Shavasana position. This is a beautiful shape to receive. So here we're thinking about what we need. What do we wish for this coming year? What would elevate our growth, our expansion, our learning? What might support ourselves and others on their journeys? And feel free to continue with a little bit of movement here if that feels good. So you could be rolling your shoulders up, back and down, especially if you have the props underneath you. Or hands to shoulders, circling the elbows might feel good. Or arms all the way up to the sky and all the way back behind you, and then exhaling the arms wide and down by your sides. Last 5 breaths. When you've completed 5 breaths, bring your hands to the outsides of your legs and slowly bring the knees back together. If you have props underneath your body, you can either roll to one side or just lift yourself up with as little effort as you can, just enough to remove the props and then roll back onto the floor. And here, just be with yourself and see what your body is requesting. What do you need? For me, the body's asking for the knees to come into the chest and rock on the lower back. For you, it might be happy baby or a full body stretch, maybe something else entirely. I'll guide a 2-knee twist very simply, right and left. If you want to come along for that, feel free. If there's something else you're doing at this point, then enjoy that. If you're coming for the twist, plant the feet back to the floor, shift the hips a little to the left, and then lower both knees to the right. You can put props between your knees or under your knees if you need to. Rest your hands on the top of your body as anchors, or open your arms wide into a soft T shape, palms facing up. You can look up, you can look to the left. If you need to put an extra support under the left shoulder, feel free. Spending a few breaths here, wringing out the spine. Twists are a wonderful shape for your nervous system. They help to cool and calm the body down. Just make sure in these twists that you can still breathe with ease from the crown of your head to your tailbone. There is a fluidity, there is a lightness of breath, there's no obstruction. If you feel like your breath is short, you might need to just back off from the depth of the twist a little. And let's just take 3 more breaths here. Engage your core and come all the way back to center. And exhale in center. Shift your hips to the right and lower your knees to the left. 2-knee twist if you're coming along for this side. And again, props might be supporting under your knees or between your knees. Maybe arms are nice and wide across the floor. See how it goes. See what's comfortable. See what helps you ease into where we're going next, which is Shavasana. There's 3 more breaths here. And then moving slow and steady back to center. And here is where you might slide a bolster or cushions under your legs, getting ready for Shavasana. You might grab an eye pillow and a blanket and use those props to make this a more comfortable and relaxing experience. Your blanket can go over the entirety of your body, or just folded and rested on your belly can be really grounding. And please do give yourself the opportunity for this Shavasana. Don't cut your practice short because we are at home and it's easy to do that. This Shavasana here is the opportunity to recognize where you've been and where you're going. And Shavasana is the chance to thank your gracious body for all that it has done for you, for all that it has helped you experience, and to recognize that deep connection and relationship with self is what will carry you forwards. into what is next, the known and the unknown, with grace and peace. I will leave you to rest in Shavasana, and I'll call you out when it's time by offering you a reading. So when you start to hear my voice again, just remain in your Shavasana and soak up the words if they resonate, or leave them to float away if they don't. Until then, rest. There is no more to do. There is a Buddhist precept that asks us to be mindful of how rare it is to find ourselves in human form on earth. It is really a beautiful view of life that offers us the chance to feel enormous appreciation for the fact that we are here as individual spirits, filled with consciousness, drinking water and chopping wood. It asks us to look about at the ant and antelope, at the worm and the butterfly, at the dog and the castrated bull, at the hawk and the wild lonely tiger, at the 100-year-old oak and the 1,000-year-old patch of ocean. It asks us to understand that no other life form has the consciousness of being that we are privileged to. It asks us to recognize that of all the endless species of plants and animals and minerals that make up the earth, a very small portion of life has the wakefulness of spirit that we call being human. All of this to say, this precious human birth is unrepeatable. So what will you do today, knowing that you are one of the rarest forms of life to ever walk the earth? How will you carry yourself? What will you do with your hands? What will you ask, and of whom? Grateful and awake, ask what you need to know now. Say what you feel now. Love what you love now. If you have longer to dedicate to your Shavasana, then please stay as long as you need to. If, however, it's time for you to come out, start to deepen your breath and allow a little movement back into your fingers and toes, into your wrists and ankles. And take a full body stretch as you inhale. As you exhale, hug your knees to your chest and rock on your back. And slowly roll onto your side and take a few more breaths. Move all the way back up to a tall seat of Sukhasana as you're ready. Either resting your hands to your legs, palms up or down, depending on where your energy is now. Or returning your hands to Anjali Mudra at the center of your chest. As the next few days unfold, may we spend pockets of time in this place of reflection, recalibration, and may we recognize that power within us to request, to ask for what we need, what will support us and serve us moving forwards. Let us bookend the practice with the sound of Om 3 times. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. And inhale to Om. It's been my pleasure to guide you. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your breath. Wishing you all health, happiness, and peace as we step forth into a new year. Namaste.